Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and today I'm going to try to spend an entire day working on this pond. If you've been following along, you know we had a leaky pond dam, and we've widened that and raised it, and there's still a lot of work to be done on that, and primarily that's where I'm going to spend my time and show you all the challenges I have with that and what I'm doing and my future plans for it. But before I get into that, I'm going to get the transit level out, go all the way around the pond and find where our lowest spot of bank is. Because even though I recently put a through pipe in the dam over here, that is supposed to be an overflow. But even though I've put that in, it could get clogged or it could be insufficient. So I need to know where this is going to overflow in a flood situation or if my pipe doesn't do its job. The next thing, I'm going to do just a little bit of work on the bridge and show you I've got two major upgrades coming to the island that I'm pretty excited about. One, we've got our plans in place to build a second bridge across to the other side, and two is I'll have my windmill here within a week. I've been talking about this windmill and shopping and comparing brands for over a year, ever since we did this, and it's finally here. You're gonna see that going up in a video within the next week. So I'm pretty excited about all this, but I need to get as much done as I can before that gets in. And I also need to address these pond lilies, but we'll talk about all that as we go. Let's get started. First thing I'm gonna do real quick is all this treated lumber that's on the bridge is cupping up because it's not fastened down, it's just setting on there. And I'm gonna do something this week to tie all that together or bolt it down. I think I'm gonna tie it together, but just being in the sun is got those boards cupping. I'm gonna flip them over and see if they'll start to come back the other way. Okay, the next thing is establishing maximum water height and how high all the banks are in relation to that. It takes a minute for that to kind of calibrate itself and start spinning, and I'm basing everything I do right now off of the height right here on the island. For the reason for that is it hasn't changed. All the other banks have been at least modified a little bit. Water level, most of the spring was right at the top, about to run over the top of this island, and that put it about the same height on most of the pond. So I'm gonna call this ground zero. And I think I've got it set where it's never gonna get more than 8 inches from the bottom of this, or the top from ground level here. Okay, so I have it set that this is going to compare everywhere else I go to ground level. Let's take a walk around and see where we stand. All right, so the other side of the bridge. Right here on the other side of the bridge might be an inch higher than the bridge or the island. This feels like I just went uphill. Let's see what we got. Okay, so by backing this bank up, I cut out this bank and had it slope further back. Ground level, if we match ground level at the island, we're about 6 or 8 inches high here. So if the water was at the top of the dam or at the top of the island, it would be about that far up this bank. But I don't think we're gonna get to that point. I think we're gonna have water level set here. And if we're establishing water level to set right there, then that means water level right now is 2.5 to 3 feet low. I dug this almost exactly a year ago after looking it up, and at that point water level was where it is now. I can tell that by comparing where we dug out the island. So nothing out of the ordinary for this time of year. I think next year without the leak it might stay a little bit fuller. I went all the way around the pond and checked the bank height about every 10 feet or so. We don't need to show every measurement in the video. All that really matters is nowhere all the way around the pond there was not a single spot that was lower than the island. Right here where I'm standing, which is where I need to add all this clay, is the same height as the island, but I'm going to raise that another 6 inches by the end of this video. So now we're back around to the overflow pipe to see how that compares. So right here is level. So basically my entire pond all the way around is level with that island within a few inches. There's a few high spots, but that doesn't really matter. But mostly it's all level with a spot about right here. It's about 2 inches above the top of this pipe, and this is an 8-inch pipe. So this should keep water level 10 inches below the top of the island. So our maximum water level should be the bottom of that stick right there. We should never get above about here, which seems pretty reasonable to have that much drop, whereas last year it was trying to run over the top. Next topic is this strip right here. Am I going to leave it the way it is or do something about it? So when we dug this, we only had enough reach to get right here, and we just left it this way. 11 of the last 12 months, this has been below water and you couldn't even see it was here. During the dry, we've had a severe drought. And with that drought and a leaky dam, water levels way down, this is exposed and the kids have enjoyed playing on it. I thought about getting a bigger machine with a long reach to scoop all this out, but I don't know if it really matters or if it's worth it. That end over there under the bridge is deeper, so water will always be able to pass between the two. So the next thing is we're running a bridge from here all the way across, and I'm trying to decide. We're gonna have bridge, windmill, the other end of the bridge will set right where the camera's at and reach across to here. That is a long span that I'm gonna measure today, and I'm looking at what I can do on the other end to make it solid, a good place for a bridge to set. So I would much prefer that other end of the bridge to be here rather than back on that bank. But trying to build this out is challenging, especially with my overflow pipe right over here. I may set some concrete pillars or something out here, like those giant construction blocks I used up there. Or I could pour concrete right here while the pond is so low. Give me your thoughts on, the wife wants another bridge across here. I found arches to have it built out of. I've got the guy willing to cut them. But what would you guys do as far as a place to set that? Because you don't want to set it right on the edge of this. It could even erode and drop down. So give me your thoughts on that. Now, let's do a little bit of work, actually move some dirt and accomplish something today. And then we'll talk about what my final plans are for sealing that bank and what I'm going to do about these pond lilies that are so overwhelming. This is almost too steep to drive down in, so I had to start digging a little further back and make it more of a gradual run in, because I was
already going to be pulling clay out of this all day long. And by the end of the day, it's a good 8 foot deep. Watch the dirt push out under this track as I pivot and come to a stop up here.
Alright, so let me show you what we've got going on here in case you haven't followed the whole series. We had a pond dam that was only 2.5 to 3 foot wide over here, and it was eroding more over time. It was shaped like this with a drop off, straight drop off, and then almost flat out from there. And we decided we thought it was leaking, and so to fix the leak, what we did was come along that existing bank and dig it deeper down through the muck until we hit clay, and then we've been packing clay on top of that. Now the muck we dug up, we set over here, about 4 feet out from the bank, and then we've just been continually adding more clay out, packing it in. Every time we pack it in, you put clay out on this dam like this, and you drive back and forth across it 100 times. The side closer to the water sinks. It pushes out and pushes out and pushes out, and it just keeps sinking and doing this. Now, my belief is if we do it enough times, it will quit sinking out. So, as I drive on this side with the track, it pushes down a little bit and this pushes out. Well, this is pushing out and it's hitting that buildup that we put down here in the pond, and I think we're gonna reach a point where it quits doing that. And we built this out. We got it from 3 feet wide out to about 7 or 8 feet wide. This is at least 8 feet wide because my tracks are 78 inches and I've got room on each side of the tracks. So we built this out, and then we got a rain on it, then we let it bake in the sun, and then I built it out again some more, and we're just gonna continue doing that until this stops pushing out when I drive over it. So what we have right now is that side is higher than this side because of that sinking effect. So what I'm trying to accomplish is getting out here as far as I can, twisting the skid loader, that little bit of room I have, and dumping all the material right here, and then packing it right here so that when it pushes out, it'll be level. So that's the plan anyway, and I've got a lot of it to do, and that's what I was digging the clay out for. So better get to it. One last thing before I jump in and get to work. This is the material we're using. It's a pretty good quality clay. This is packed tight, that I can smash it and mold it, and it will hold its shape. It's not perfect clay, but I would say it's pretty good clay. And the deeper we go, the better it gets. So you can see the orange clay here, and it's got some gray mixed in it. That gray feels like half topsoil and half clay. The more orange you have, the more it's solid clay. So this is some of what we were using to build it that's dried out a little bit. It's got a lot of orange in it, but it's still got some of that gray. All right, now I'll get in the machine.
I don't know if this looks routine or if it looks dicey, but I can tell you it didn't feel very comfortable. Now, it is better today than it was last time I worked on it, and it's going to continue to get better the more time I spend adding dirt. But there's not much room because I'm almost touching the fence and I'm almost driving my track off the edge, and I'm always worried about the side of this sliding off into the pond. Now, going forward isn't too bad because you can clearly see your bucket edge and just keep it 4 inches from the fence. But when you back up, it's a lot harder to tell if you're in a straight line or how well you're centered in between the fence and the drop-off.
I just got a phone call that I want to react to. Actually, I got a phone call and a message that are related to each other. The phone call is that the tire shop has my dump trailer ready to pick up. So I need to go get that. And the message I had was my friend Joe, who helped me dig this pond. He said he's out digging another pond for a customer and they don't have enough clay. He wants to buy some clay from me. So I'm gonna go get my dump trailer, come back here, dig up some clay, take it to Joe, make a little bit of money, and hopefully get back and finish this today, but if not, it can wait. So I'm gonna get to that, and actually let's take a look at these lily pads real quick. What I've got going here with these is last year I sprayed these individual leaves and it killed the lily pads, but I didn't get 100% of them. I probably killed 90% of these. And if you have one, you have a whole pond full within 6 months. That's how fast they spread. I've tried manually removing these, and to me it's basically impossible. What happens is you grab the tubes and you try to pull them out. Even if you get all the way down at the bottom, the tubes are weak and they break. The roots in the ground are strong and you can't pull those out. You just break the tubes off and the roots run underground to the next plant. I've even got a tool special for throwing in there and dragging, but they're rooted too hard. I don't think I can do it. I'll probably try to manually pull some of these out, and then I'm gonna kill these with spray again. And I hate to do that because, as one of my viewers has pointed out recently, every time you kill these, they die off and it adds to the bio load of the pond, and it's a nitrogen spike, can lead to algae blooms, it can kill fish. It's not great to kill that many at once, but what else am I gonna do? I've also got some bentonite clay ordered that should be here this week. And I'm gonna put bentonite all along this bank I'm working right now and see if that helps seal it. That bentonite sinks down. When it gets wet, it expands and kind of creates a waterproof seal. It should help, and I'll probably also do the dam it too. So I'm gonna deal with this clay and we'll see if we can get back to the dam in a little bit. Okay, so I've got the trailer picked up. Really glad to have it back. But a lot of you took an interest in my previous video about why one tire shredded and the other 3 were fine and what's wrong with my brakes. So took it to a good tire shop and they basically didn't charge me anything to look at it, but they didn't find anything wrong and sold me some much higher quality tires. And I need to do a separate video. I'm going to do a whole video just checking these out, adjusting the brakes, trying to see if we can get to the bottom of what might have caused that issue. But for today, my friend Joe is 5 miles away and he needs 2 loads of clay. So we're gonna get that loaded up and get it to him.
This clay is dense and heavy, so I probably should have only taken 4 rounded bucketfuls. I went ahead and took 5 loads because I was only a couple miles from where Joe's working on the pond, and that ended up being a good decision because he originally wanted 2 loads and ended up only needing 1 load. This is the pond he's working on. It had a leaky dam, and he's dug it out and redone it all. On that trip, I ran my gain lower and just paid attention to it and didn't have any problems with the braking or with that tire. And I'm going to keep the miles pretty low on the dump trailer until I've got time to figure that out. If you really watch here, you can see I'm continuing to pump dirt out and push more off into the pond. And I think the only solution to that is to just keep adding and adding and adding until it quits. Now, we have a big rainstorm that's happening right now while I'm editing the video, and we'll see what effect that has on it tomorrow. And I'm looking at options. I may rent some kind of a roller or maybe just use the plate compactor. I've also got the option I could buy a roller to pull behind the tractor, so I'll give that some more thought.
I'm hopeful that this shot at this angle can show you what's been going on. We have a bank sitting like this right now. Not, super extreme, but pretty good tilt this way. And I'm trying to straighten it up. And you can see where I've stopped down there. I feel like it's working pretty well. I'm about a third of the way down the bank. Got a lot of this left to do.
So, when I stop the skid loader and walk down this, each side where the tracks are feels packed really tight. And then in between it is loose and fluffy. You can definitely see my footprints. So, what that means is I'm not really compacting this the way I need to be. That's why I was thinking about options for how to compact the center. Even if by back dragging and putting a lot of down pressure, it just does not compact that center section. In the moment, I'm talking about the difficulties I'm having here and how I think this maybe could work better. But big picture, I think all the work I'm doing is going to pay off, and we're going to have a much more usable pond and an easier to maintain pond. And I cannot wait to get all of this finished and add a little bit more fish to it and just enjoy this. You might be wondering why I continue to drive all the way down this narrow bank instead of working from the other side once I hit the halfway point. And there are 2 answers. The first is driving over it repeatedly after adding the clay should help with packing. The second reason you see right there in that last scoop I dropped from the other direction. With a skid loader, once you've established a flat level spot, it's easy to continue that spot by keeping your tracks in a flat area and then just letting your bucket match that. But when you're starting from the other direction, it's harder to get that flat spot that's on grade with what you already have.
Okay, so I really wanted to finish that. It's about to rain, and I just wanted this all to be done. And I feel pretty good about it. I've probably said everything that needed to be said in the voiceover, so I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. Put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.